Hi, this is Larry with ManCave Mayhem. Today we are working on a 2025 Honda CRF 300 LS. And this particular bike happens to be my son-in-law's. It's due for its first oil change. Hasn't quite hit 600 miles yet. It's about 450 miles. So we're gonna go ahead and dump the oil and get some fresh stuff in there. Usually that first oil change is kind of critical because all the assembly goop and stuff will break loose, and there's a lot of new metals in the engine, so we like to get that changed out. So let's get that going. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Check us out at Instagram at ManCave_Mayhem. Also, you can check out my Amazon affiliate link. I'll include that in the description below. If there's anything that you see in this video or other videos, usually I bought it on Amazon and I'll put it in my Amazon store. So let's get on with the video. All right, to start with, I'm gonna go over some of the stuff you're gonna need. You're obviously gonna need an oil filter. Genuine Honda is a good way to go. This particular oil filter is a 15410-KYJ-902. So that's the oil filter. There's also an oil filter gasket. We may not be using this. I'm going to check to see if the other one's in bad shape. If it isn't, we're going to reuse it. But that number is 15412-KYJ-901. So we'll set that there. I also purchased a gold plug, which is a magnetic plug. These things are awesome. They catch any extra debris on the magnet. It's got a pretty strong rare earth magnet on there that catches all the garbage. A little overpriced, but they do work. He also sent an extra crush washer with it, but I don't know that we'll be using that. He purchased the oil, which is a Honda 1030 weight HP 4S, which is a full synthetic oil, which is a good thing. Now, you're gonna need a container to drain your oil in. You're gonna need a ratchet. I got two different ratchets here. One for the oil drain plug, which is a 12 millimeter, and then another one for the cover for the oil filter cover, which is an 8 millimeter. And it doesn't really matter how you do it, what ratchet you use. I got a 1/4 inch drive ratchet and a 3/8 drive ratchet. But that's the stuff you'll probably need. You'll also probably want some gloves to keep the oil off your hands. So let's get this bike apart and get some new oil in it. Also, make sure you warm the bike up before you do. Change your oil. I warmed this thing up. Still pretty warm. Took it for a rip from my son-in-law's house, so it's warm and ready to be drained. So let's get it drained. All right, his bike's got an aftermarket skid plate from SRC Moto. If you haven't seen that install video, I have an installation video for these crash bars and the skid plate. I encourage you to check it out. But anyhow, let's go under the bike here, and you can see the hole in the skid plate right here, and that is the plug we're going after right here. Hopefully I have it on there, yeah. So that's the bolt that you're gonna wanna get after, and that is a 12 millimeter. So let's get that out and get it drained. All right, while that's fully draining, and of course I made a mess, it's wanting to drip out here, obviously, so I'll clean that up later. But anyhow, while that's finishing draining, we will take the original drain plug, and we're gonna compare that to the gold plug and make sure that this gold plug is not running too crazy long. Sometimes they run a little longer than the factory plug. Whoa, that thing's, you can see that's got a strong magnet on it. So we're gonna look at that and just kind of, so this gold plug goes significantly deeper than the other one. Not a lot, but a little bit. And so you just wanna make a note of that because you don't wanna cause any problems with your bike. But I think we're good. It's not much deeper, and they say it's made for all the Hondas, so we should be in good shape. So we'll go ahead and let that drain a little more and get the gold plug back in, and then we'll move over to the other side. All right, now that we've got that new drain plug in. We're moving over to the right-hand side of the bike, and you're gonna look for this object, this tumor on the side of the bike here. And this is gonna take that 8mm wrench. You got 4 nuts here that need to be removed. So we're gonna start removing those now. I meant to mention this, but a lot of times aluminum foil helps to divert some of the oil flow. I started making a mess again, so I threw some aluminum foil here to divert some of that oil. So I want you to see, you want to pay careful attention when you're taking this off. There's a spring that goes in the cap here, and that holds the filter in. Also, when you're looking at the filter, make sure you put it in the right way. Now this one wouldn't be too hard to, this one is easy to put in, you know, makes sense because it's different on both sides. But some of these filters are hard to tell which way to put them in, but you can see how that rubber O-ring is there, and that's where that filter fits in, is right there. And then there's a pressure relief valve right there. So just make sure you put it in right. And also just make sure you divert the oil so you don't make such a mess. I made quite a bit of a mess. Now, the gasket's brand new on this. This is just the first oil change. So I'm gonna wipe that gasket down and put it right back on. It'll seal right up, and there shouldn't be any problems with it. I'll look up the torque specs and give you the torque specs on this too, so you know what to torque these bolts down. Another thing you wanna do is, when you get the new filter out, you're gonna wanna compare those filters and make sure everything's the same. Just so you know, and they obviously are the same. What's interesting on this one, which is kind of nice, it says outside towards filter cover. This one actually says that on this, so you know which way to reference it. This other filter that came in the bike does not say that. So very interesting. But anyhow, this is a genuine Honda filter, so we're gonna go ahead and get this wiped down, and we'll put this back in the bike, and I'll show you what to do next after. All right, once we got everything wiped down, this gasket is still good, so we're gonna reuse that. We're just gonna go ahead and put this filter back on, new filter, or put it in, and that's how it should look when you put it in the bike. And then we're gonna reassemble this, being careful not to lose this spring. Make sure that spring goes against that filter, because that tensions the filter and holds it in place. So we'll get that on there right now, and then I'll go over the torque specs. The torque specs on this are 9 to 12 Newton meters or 8 to 9 foot-pounds on these bolts. So there you have it. So now we have the sight glass here, and you got 2 marks, an upper and a lower. You want to be in between those marks. Here's your oil fill. So you're going to want to get a funnel and put your funnel in there, and then we'll start putting some oil in this. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get to pouring. It calls for 1.6 quarts of oil when you change the oil filter. So I'll run it up to about 1.5. We'll check it, start it, make sure it gets circulated through, let it rest a little bit, and we'll see where the oil's sitting, and we'll add or top off what is needed. So let's get that oil in. All right, that's gonna about wrap it up for this video. Pretty simple oil change. A fantastic bike. These bikes are really durable. They run great. They're a good dual sport option. They're a lighter weight than some of these bigger bikes. I really like the way this bike runs, and I think my son-in-law is going to be pretty happy with it for years to come. Also, I wanted to mention a couple things. I ended up using a shorter extension, so you might want to do that. Shorter 8mm extension on those bolts for the oil filter. Also, aluminum foil came in really handy. So you can use that also to divert oil when you're trying to get past things. So it makes a good instant funnel, or a way to encourage the oil to not spill all over your lift. Anyhow, if you haven't yet, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Check us out at Instagram at ManCave_Mayhem. Check out my Amazon affiliate link for cool products. If you get a chance, go over to SRC Moto and check out some of their products. I mean, we've got all kinds of cool stuff on this bike. This bike's rigged out with SRC Moto products, and also my other CT 125s are also geared up with SRC Moto products, and I'm real happy with them. Anyhow, just remember, folks, I'm just a man in a cave causing mayhem. Thanks again for watching.